Hello everyone, this is part 18 of What If Naruto was banished and becomes Master Swordsman, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
1 week later outside of Konoha, 9 a.m. It was always a beautiful thing to see, the sun shine bright. The blue skyline, the clouds that were suspended in the sky, just added to the beauty of mornings. At least that's what Makinu thought before he crashed into a stone in a secluded area of dirt. Ranpu crashed next to him a few seconds later. Standing in front of the boys a few feet away was none other than their sensei. Watching the boys of his squad slowly rise, then slip into a fighting stance brought him joy. They knew they were outclassed, yet they kept coming at him with everything they had. He wasn't holding back, well he was, but he wasn't showing them any mercy. Every mistake they made, he made them pay for it dearly. If they were to face those two boys from Cloud, there was no room for errors. Their taijutsu was excellent, but they still had holes that needed to be covered up. Granted, it would take more than a month to become the next Mito guy, but he was certain that he could get him to a point that would assure that they'll survive. He didn't know if they realized it, but they would be fighting for their lives in the finals. Seeing the boys breathing hard, add that to the fact that they've been training for the last 3 hours and fighting for the last one, it was time that they took a break. That's enough for now. We will resume training again at 3 p.m. Makinu was relieved. He purposely fell on his back with his arms stretched out. I thought you were hard before sensei, but this is crazy. I wonder if you'll like this with Konohamaru-ni-san. Ranpu, who was resting on one knee, couldn't help but wonder as well. Senzaru was usually hard on him, but this training just took the cake. He brutally beat the hell out of them. Ranpu understood his reasons, but he didn't expect him to fight them like they were opponents. I guess it can't be helped. He's preparing us for them. Senzaru never really thought about his training methods being crazy, as Makinu stated, but he didn't want to tell the boy that Konohamaru's training was indeed much harder. Wait a minute, what better way to give them motivation? He answered Makinu's question, well, to be quite honest with you two, I don't think you would survive Konohamaru's training regimen. To put it more bluntly, you two are not ready for what I put him through. Ranpu narrowed his eyes at that comment and Makinu sat up, showing his disdain for the comment. Senzaru smirked at the boys' reaction. At least I know they will come at me harder when we resume training. He turned his back on the boys and started to walk away. You guys rest your bodies. Meet back here at 3 in the afternoon today. Using the body flicker technique, he left the two alone. Makinu glanced at his teammate. We have to land a hit on that bastard. I think that would show him that we can handle anything he throws at us. For the first time I agree. Don't worry, we'll get our hit, Ranpu said to his teammate. He then stood up and walked over to the boy. Kneeling down next to him, he draped the dead last's arm over his shoulder, using himself as a support for the boy. I think we should head back, regain our strength, and then come back at the appointed time to kick his ass. Ranpu's words caused Makinu to pump his fist in the air. Doing this also caused the boys to fall on their butts. Shaking his head, you are such an idiot sometimes, I swear. Makinu just scratched his head at Ranpu's remarks. Cloud Village. A shinobi should never underestimate his opponents. Doing so could lead to one's demise. He didn't believe his father's words when he said it to him upon him graduating the academy. Maybe it was because he was the #1 rookie and everyone in his age range, some even a few years older, were weaker than him. Now thinking back on it, his father was right. He did underestimate the girl that he had hospitalized nearly a week ago. He even underestimated the other two members of her team. Even though he believed the Hyuga would give him a good fight, he still underestimated his skill, until he surprised him with that speed of his. The boy was nearly as fast as him. His father was right, underestimation of one's opponent could be your downfall. The 8 Chunin that he had fought learned that lesson the hard way. In the indoor gymnasium, 8 Chunin laid on the floor defeated. Standing in the middle of them, the blue-eyed genin that they had underestimated. He wouldn't make their mistake. No, he would be cautious when fighting that Hyuga kid and everyone that came his way. A shinobi should never underestimate his opponents. Doing so could lead to one's demise. Maybe father should have told him that as well. Watching from a window high above, Aizu smiled at the boy's level of skill. You've trained him well, Kuin. Not even a scratch on him. I am certain that he would have no problem taking this tournament. Too bad though, really. I wouldn't say that just yet, sir. You haven't seen the Hyuga fight yet. I think that will be a match people will get their money's worth. Aizu didn't care what Kuin said or thought. His son would crush that Hyuga kid. Deciding to change the subject, so, how are your other subordinates doing? Well, Jikoku is training with Kadan and Suki decided to perfect her skills alone without my aid. She said it didn't matter if I trained her or not, seeing as her opponent would be too weak to beat her and that the tournament wouldn't go past the first round for her to even meet up with a stronger opponent. Kuin's comment caused Aizu to chuckle. Smart girl. However, taking her opponent lightly can be her downfall. Aizu said to the elite Junin. Maybe. Aizu placed his hand on Kuin's shoulder. I will check on his progress another week from now. Kuin nodded as Aizu walked off. He narrowed his eyes as he walked off. He hated that man deeply. He was like everyone else in this god-forsaken village. The only reason he stayed in this village because the one who was strong enough to test his capacity was Aizu. He couldn't wait to be able to test himself against an opponent of Naruto's caliber. Defeating Uzumaki, someone that worried Aizu enough to send his cronies after, was definitely someone worthwhile. After I defeat you Uzumaki, you're next Aizu-sama. Seeing me as only a weapon that you can unleash at your whim, you're like the rest of these fools in this village. I couldn't care less about this war, I only care about those strong enough participating in it. Fight for Cloud, I fight for myself, my own strength. The best, that's what I truly want to be known as. The strongest warrior in all the villages, that's my goal. To be respected and feared at the same time is something that Uzumaki has already achieved. The man that brings him down would be revered, which all the more reason to start with him. After I defeat you, there will be nothing left for me in this forsaken village, the village that placed this gift and curse upon me. I will move on and those that are strong enough, I will seek out. I will be the best, I will be a warrior of legend. Kuin knew that it would only be a matter of time until his dream was reality. Until that day came, he would patiently wait. 2 p.m., Konoha. After a long day of training, Konohamaru found himself walking through the streets of Konoha. His goal was to find something to eat. He loved ramen, but he just didn't have a taste for it today for some reason. Instead, he decided to head to a local restaurant that was nearby. He had intended to go see Hanabi today, but she was still mad at him. He asked for his uncle's advice and all he said was let her be. Yeah, what does he know? His mind kept drifting back to her and his stomach. When he thought of her he thought of his promise. He kicked himself, he had failed again. He was supposed to be strong enough to take on those shinobi all at once. They shouldn't have even gotten involved as far as he was concerned. Mogi was nursing a bad leg still. Udon, who was his best friend, told him not worry about it but he couldn't help it. Naruto Nisan showed up and took him out effortlessly. What the hell am I doing? How do I expect to ever stand next to him if I can't even defeat ninjas on the caliber of those rock shinobi? The thought of not being strong enough plagued the young Sarutobi. He decided to skip his meal, he had to push himself to the limit. Konohamaru turned around and ran back towards the training grounds. He would practice until he couldn't anymore. I will stand with you someday Naruto Ni-san, I will stand with you someday. Udon, who was walking with Hanabi, had intended to take the girl to where his friend had been for the last couple of days. Even though she told him she wasn't worried, he knew that she was lying. He had told her that Konohamaru was pushing himself to the limit. The only person that Konohamaru would listen to, in his opinion, was her. When he saw his friend run off he pointed him out, looks like he's heading back to the training grounds. Why does he overdo it? Hanabi asked the taller brown-haired boy. Shaking his head, who knows? I think it's over guilt. Konohamaru has always prided himself on protecting his friends and becoming as strong as Naruto. Knowing Konohamaru, he feels guilty, because he couldn't protect us. The truth is, had Naruto not shown up, we would have all been dead. It's believed that it's his job to protect everyone, that's why I think he's going to make a great Hokage. Do you really believe that he will become Hokage? Hanabi was a little skeptical. No doubt he would be a good Junin, but Hokage, she wasn't so sure. It seems that you don't know Konohamaru as well as you think. He grabbed her hand. Come with me, I want to show you something. With him leading the way, Udon ran toward the training ground where he knew his friend was. About 10 minutes or so of walking, Hanabi found herself at the training ground with Udon. Hiding behind a tree, Udon placed his index finger over his mouth, encouraging her to be quiet. Pointing, she traced the path which his finger pointed. Watching closely, she saw Konohamaru pounding the wooden post. Looking on with a bit of surprise and worry, she watched as every punch left the wood stained with blood. Taking a seat on the ground, Udon pulled a rice ball out his shirt and handed it to Hanabi. He's going to pass out soon. Don't even think about stopping him. Just watch, you will see why I believe in him. Maybe in time you will too. When he passes out soon, you can feed that to him. Pulling out another rice ball, Udon started to eat. She took her eyes off of the glasses wearing Chunin to focus on Konohamaru. Sure enough, just like Udon said, he fell on his face. Hanabi began to walk over to Konohamaru, who was lying on his face. Damn it, I shouldn't be at my limit. I have to get up. Trying to use his hands to support his weight and push up on, he found that he and gravity were not on the best of terms. He fell back to the ground. Damn it. Having enough strength to turn his head, he turned slightly to his left to see blue sandals. Slowly looking up, he saw Hanabi looking at him. He couldn't read her expression. She bent down and just gave him a stern look. She then closed her eyes and exhaled. Really? I don't understand why you do this to yourself. Giving a weak smile, I told you already, I'm going to be Hokage. Why? Is it worth it? Is it worth walking a razor's edge and pushing past your limits into dangerous territories? This time she asked with a little anger in her tone. Yes, it is worth it. Every dream is worth fighting for, otherwise what the hell are we here for? She was taken back by that. The Hyuga placed Konohamaru against the post so he would be sitting up. She sat next to him. Here. If you're going to train this hard, you can at least eat something. Open up. The boy thought he was dreaming. She wouldn't feed him, would she? Wait, this was payback for the hospital. He was hungry, but he was contemplating on whether he should eat it or not. Idiot, my arm is getting tired. Hanabi said to the boy, causing him to come back to reality. If it was a trick, he didn't care. What the hell? He took a bite and was greeted by the pleasant taste. Wow, Hanabi-chan, did you make this? You're such a great cook, I had no idea. Trying to hide her blush. Well, actually What did Hinata-san make these? I bet she did. You don't seem like the cooking type. Konohamaru's comments caused a vein to appear on Hanabi's head. Before he knew it, his face was in the ground. He was now wearing the rice ball as a hat. You jerk. To think I was actually thinking about learning how to make these things for you. You're an idiot, I swear. Udon just shook his head at his friend. Nice way to play it, Mr. Smooth. To think, I did that to get you back in her good graces and you go and take 5 steps back. I swear, man, you really need to work on your timing. Well, I guess I'm taking him home again. Udon walked over to his friend. Do you want me to leave you here or take you home, again? Konohamaru slowly raised his hand while his face was in the ground. No, that's okay, I think I'll stay here. Udon shrugged and stepped over his friend, leaving him alone. Konohamaru didn't have only a lot to learn as a shinobi, he also had a lot to learn about girls. Naya's place. Inside a room lit by candlelight, Naya and Hinata were standing on opposite sides facing each other in the middle of the room. The older of the two was showing the younger the premise of the seal. As you can see, Hinata, we need perfect symmetry for this to work. Our timing must be accurate and our hand seal speed must be exactly the same. I know, sensei, it's just that it's hard. I'm trying to get it down. Hinata said. Naya yelled, try harder, Savire. Now, let's do it again. Hinata nodded. Doing the necessary hand seals at near the same speed, Naya yelled out, now. Slamming their hands into the ground, Hinata could see the seal forming. They did it and she couldn't have been happier. After it was done, she used her forearm to wipe away the sweat. We finally got the timing right, sensei. Yes, but that doesn't mean we're done. We have to keep practicing until it becomes instinctive. Now let's form the seal again. Naya prepared herself. Hinata however wanted to know, Sensei, is a seal this big necessary? I saw the original design which was much smaller. So, why do you need me? Simple, I won't be able to get close to Aizu to place the seal on him. I don't have enough chakra to make the seal large enough so that it will form under him. However, our combined chakra, coupled with me showing you the formation of the seal and all of the other necessary things associated with the seal, we can seal off his powers. Naya's explanation put in perspective for Hinata. She and Naya would play a major role in this war, she didn't have time for errors. She understood the seriousness of the situation and her sensei's negative reactions to her mistakes. I understand, but before we continue sensei, who is Savia? Hinata asked. Naya gave her a surprised look. How do you know that name? That's what you called me when you yelled at me. Hinata stated. Naya looked upon the ground with sad eyes. She's me and Kaito's daughter. Hinata was shocked by the news but she knew that it wasn't the time to press for more answers. She spoke in a low tone. Let's continue sensei. Naya nodded. The hands of the two females moved at lightning speed. Dropping to one knee, they interlocked hands, palms side down, into the floor. Outside of the house, Shinji and Kaito were exchanging blows. Neither were using their full power, but fighting as if they were. Shinji was surprised at Kaito's skill. This was the same man that trained Naruto in swordsmanship before he arrived to receive training from his uncle. In theory, the student learns what he can from the master. Obviously this wasn't the case. His stance and his grip on his sword was worthy of a samurai's praise. The only thing he could come up with was he wasn't a good teacher to Naruto or Naruto was a hard-headed student. He was leaning to the latter. Jumping back to create some distance, Shinji was smiling. He was enjoying himself for the first time in a long time. Kaito sheathed his sword. I guess it's time we take a break. I must say, you were great. The two men started to walk toward the large stone in the yard. You're good too. I wonder why Naruto wasn't half as decent as you were when he came to my uncle. Shinji asked Kaito. Hard-headed kid, I tried to show him the right stance, but I tried to adapt my training to his wild, unpredictable fighting style. I see your uncle corrected all of that with his training. Hell, even if I trained him to be like me, it wouldn't have done him any good, not against your clan anyway. Kaito pointed out. Shinji disagreed. I don't think you're right about that. If he was on the same skill level or slightly under you, then he probably would have been much better off in his initial training with my uncle. Both arrived at the large stone in the backyard and sat down. Kaito laid back on the stone. I wonder if they are finished practicing yet. What are they doing anyway? Shinji asked. Working on a seal that Naya designed. I'm not too familiar with it or what it's capable of. I just know when she's developing a seal, you usually won't see her for a while. Naya gets into her work. She's dedicated, skillful. Naya had a light in her eyes as he praised her. The light suddenly faded, then he let out a sigh. She's also controlling, arrogant, a Miss Know-it-all, and downright bitchy at times. Reacting on instinct, Shinji jumped to the side as he saw a fist made of earth punch Kaito, launching him into the air and causing him to land hard on his face. She turned to see Hinata holding back a fuming Naya. I'm bitchy, you lazy ass bastard. Let me go Hinata, I'm going to kick his pompous ass. Naya was struggling to get free. Hinata, who was struggling to hold her back, but he also said that you were dedicated, didn't he? Kaito jumped up and disappeared out of sight. Naya yelled, get your ass back here. Hinata let her sensei go when Kaito left. Shinji walked over next to Hinata who watched as her sensei's screams aimed at the heavens, but directed towards Kaito. Shinji spoke in a low voice, are those two always like that? Hinata giggled, yes, but they really care for each other. It's just how their relationship is. So, how is your training going? Good, how about you? Hinata thought about it for a second, it's okay I guess but I need to work on my timing and stay in sync with Naya-sensei. This upcoming battle, it's going to be crucial. Shinji didn't doubt that. He knew it would be, but his goal was simply to go after the man that killed his uncle and his clan. Also, he wouldn't mind getting his hand on that shinobi that defeated him in the woods. Shinji didn't know what, but something about that guy was demonic. Yes, probably it will be. I however just want the guy that destroyed my clan. Hinata saw the look of regret in his eyes. She couldn't offer him any words of wisdom, nothing inspirational at all. Shinji continued, I wish I was there. I could have made the difference. Don't be stupid, even if you and Naruto were there, you wouldn't have made any difference. It would be 2 more people dead. Shinji turned to see Naya staring at him with a serious expression. Shinji snapped, what do you know? If I was there, Aizu would have killed you, simple as that. Taking a deep breath, the seal mistress continued, look, I know you think you would have made the difference, but trust me, you wouldn't have. I don't doubt your power, but Aizu is on another level. The guy is a master of the wicked wind style, and he has the dragon contract and all of the abilities that it grants. The playing field isn't level at all. If you fight him, you have a swinger's chance at best. Hinata looked at Shinji, who was glaring at Naya, and Naya who was staring at him with a blank expression. Hinata spoke, Shinji-kun, maybe you should listen to Naya-sensei. I know you want to revenge your family, but you can't do that by willingly committing suicide. You're not ready. There is only one person who has the experience and skill to fight him, and as far as potential goes, there is only one person who can defeat him. Not only does Aizu have all of these things at his disposal, he's an excellent shinobi, as well. A weapon in the hands of an expert is a deadly combination. Shinji turned his back to them, so what, you want me to act like nothing happened and let it go? I can't do that. Dragon contract, wicked wind, it doesn't matter. Come time, I will be ready for him. He walked off. Hinata looked at Shinji, she then turned to her sensei who just nodded. Hinata took off after Shinji. Naya watched Hinata run off, that kid, he really doesn't understand the gravity of the situation. I know you want to fight him Shinji, but it's better that I tell you where you stand. The time frame that we are operating will not allow you to catch him, that's just a fact, Shinji. 10 minutes passed. Hinata caught up to Shinji who was sitting on the roof of Naya's compound. Walking up slowly behind him, he spoke, what do you want, Hinata? Can I join you, Shinji-kun? Hinata asked, the man who in turn nodded. Hinata took his quietness as a yes and sat next to him. You know, Naya-sensei wasn't trying to be mean or anything like that. She just wants you to realize how strong the Raikage is. I know. It's just that this guy killed off my whole clan. What his reason for doing that? Was it because he feared us so much? I wasn't even there to help them in their hour of need, I ran like a coward. Shinji cast his gaze on the roof beneath him. You're not a coward, Shinji-kun. You protected your cousin, and it's like Naya-sensei said, you could have both been killed and then your bloodline would be gone forever. I don't know how it feels to lose everyone in your family, but I do know how it feels to lose someone you care about a lot. I know you want to fight for the honor of your clan, but get stronger first. Honor your clan by being able to fight and win, not by fighting and dying for nothing. Hinata placed a hand on Shinji's shoulder. Understanding where she was coming from, he gave a slight nod. You're a very wise person, Hinata-san. Thanks for the advice. Shinji stood up. Well, I have to get back to my training. I have no doubt you will become stronger, Shinji-kun. Hinata said, sincerely believing he wouldn't also provide him with some confidence, which she was certain wasn't necessary. Shinji jumped off of the roof and left Hinata sitting there by herself. Shinji is already strong. I can tell that by him sparring with Kaito-san. But if what Naya-sensei said is true, I wonder how we will stand against the Raikage. Hinata had no answer for the question she posed in her head. She would have to wait and see. Konoha, 6 p.m. Senzaru and his other 2 team members were heading through the village toward the hospital to see Akuru. The boys were battered and beaten. Ranpu, who had slightly more energy, was holding Makinu up as they walked behind their sensei. He didn't hold back on him, well if he did it didn't show, Ranpu couldn't help but think. He often wondered how strong he was. He knew it would be years till he ever reached him, but he just wanted to know how far that gap was. Makinu on the other hand was thinking about food. He didn't really care about his sensei's strength, well he did when he was getting pummeled, but hunger pains caused the thought to fade to oblivion. I'm so hungry. We're getting something to eat already, stop complaining fool. Ranpu said to his teammate. Senzaru decided to treat the boys to something to eat. They begged for him not to go easy and he didn't. The least he could do was feed the boys after withstanding his onslaught. Their teamwork has improved greatly. I just wish Akuru was able to join, it would make it better. I'm going to have to divide the training times, though, so they can work on individual progress. Senzairu saw Temari, Hayami, Konohamaru, and Yumi all walk into a local restaurant. Seeing his student, he decided to take the boys there to eat. Come. Let's go to there to eat. The boys didn't care, they were hungry and all they wanted was food. Inside the restaurant, Temari and the others took their seats and waited for their food to come. Konohamaru was telling him the story about his training. Man, it was crazy, that guy is freaking nuts, I tell you. He fights like he's trying to kill me. Don't worry too much about it, Konohamaru-kun, I'm sure you can handle it. Yumi said to the boy. Raising his fist with a self-assured glint in his eyes, I'm not worried, of course I can take it. I wouldn't make a good Rokudaime if I couldn't take that weak training. So, my training is weak now. Senzairu's voice caused Konohamaru to tense up. Slowly turning around, I didn't mean it like. Shut up, just because it's too soft I'm making it harder. Seeing Konohamaru's shoulders defeated by gravity, he laughed. Either way, can we join you guys? Senzairu asked. Yumi nodded, sure, Senzairu-san. The more the better. Makinu and Ranpu squeezed in with Konohamaru in the booth. Senzairu sat next to Yumi, who was sitting next to Hayami. Temari, who was sitting next to Hayami, glanced Ranpu and Makinu. What the hell happened to you runts? Temari asked, seeing that they looked battered. Sensei kicked their ass, that's what. Konohamaru spoke before they could respond. His comment caused them to look away in frustration. It only caused him to laugh at the boys. He placed a hand on Makinu's shoulder. Don't worry, Sensei is only tough on you because he has to be. The first thing we as shinobi should learn is that there aren't any shortcuts. Where did you pick that up? Senzairu asked. Naruto ni-san told me that when I was just a spoiled brat who thought becoming Hokage was easy. Makinu looked at Konohamaru, that guy again. Naruto, all I hear is Naruto. If he's so great, how come that he's not a leaf shinobi? Konohamaru's gaze switched to the table, the anger in his eyes were visible. A mission that went sour. According the Council of Elders, his failure was disgraceful. Temari snorted at that comment, you believe that bullshit. Hayami was confused. She knew Naruto was a shinobi of the village, but she didn't know why he wasn't a shinobi anymore. Maybe that's why they hate Naruto ni-san so much. Konohamaru ni-san, what Naruto ni-san did, is that the reason why everyone here hates him. The seriousness and the slight sadness in her voice caused Yumi to respond. No, don't stress over it so much, Hayami. Yumi said to girl. Makinu pointed at Hayami, you're that girl from the exams. Did you say ni-san? Is this Naruto guy your brother? Hayami nodded. Makinu finally would get some more information out of this girl, so you would know if he's a great fighter or not. The Golden Fox, at least that's what that kid from Cloud said. Obiki-sensei said he is one of the most feared shinobi in the world, maybe that's why he was kicked out of the village. I'm sure it was for the best. If he's as dangerous as everyone makes him out to be, then it's for the better of the village. Konohamaru grabbed him by the collar, shut up you little shit, you don't know what you're talking about. His banishment from Konoha was the worst thing to ever happen to this village since the death of my grandfather. The village turned its back on a shinobi that gave his all to it. How is that for the best? Let him go, Konohamaru. Konohamaru looked at Senzairu, then at Makinu before letting him go. Ungrateful is all it is. He saves the village from being destroyed by Shukaku and he gets repaid by getting kicked out. Makinu turned to look at Temari, who had responded. Konohamaru spoke. He even goes as far as to convince the Godime to become Hokage when she had given up on the village. That's not something a village should do. Yumi knew all of this, but what she was thinking was how he first saved the village. His father sacrificed him so they could be saved and he still was treated like a plague. Makinu felt bad he had even said what he said. Hayami spoke next. Naruto ni-san, he really did all of those things. Konohamaru nodded, of course. Do you think I would lie? Hayami shook her head. However, she was putting things together. Ni-san told me that the boy who had the QB sealed inside of him got banished when he was 12. Ni-san is also from Konoha and everyone seems to hate him a lot here. A tear fell down the girl's eyes as the truth fell upon her, so Naruto ni-san is Foxy ni-san as well. So that's why they hate ni-san, it's because they think he is the QB. That's why he was hurting and alone when he first came to us. But Naruto-ni-san wasn't a demon, how could he be? He protected me and he promised he would always. He even plays with me and does everything that a loving brother would do. But why did he lie to me? Did he think that I would hate him? Yumi placed a hand on the girl's shoulder. What's wrong, Hayami-chan, why are you crying? In a low voice, Naruto-nisan, he's Foxy Nisan, isn't he? Temari and Yumi eyes widen at this. Everyone else, with the exception of Senzaru, was confused. Yumi, who had an arm around the girl, looked at her with soft eyes. Yes. But you must understand why he didn't tell you, Hayami-chan. When he comes back, you can ask him about it, but for now, please let's leave it alone. Hayami wiped her eyes. Okay, Yumi-ne-chan. But I hate this village. I don't want to stay here anymore. This village is a bad place, a very bad place. Makinu was very proud of his village. What are you talking about? Konoha is a great village. Don't you dare insult my home. I would never. Makinu. Stop it. Senzaru words caused the boy to calm down. The man with the Phoenix contract continued, she's right. Konoha is nothing like the Konoha I knew. This place is a former shell of itself. It's good that you defend your village, but it's not the village it once was. Konohamaru placed a hand on the kid. Don't worry though. When I become Rokudaime, the village will be great again. I share Hayami-chan's sentiments though. But enough about that. Konohamaru's mouth started to salivate when he saw their food come. It's time to eat. Yumi stared at Hayami, who was looking at the plate that was placed before her. She feels bad for Naruto. Don't, Hayami. You're one of the reasons he's not a monster and I thank you for that. Without you, who knows what Naruto would have become. Also, I probably wouldn't have gotten a chance to know him. Yumi placed her hand on Hayami's shoulders and smiled at the girl. Nothing's changed. He's still your brother, you know that, right? I know. Naruto-ni-san will always be Naruto-ni-san. Nothing will ever change that. Hayami said. Yumi was happy to see that the girl's opinion wasn't negative. Not everyone hates you, Naruto, for what you are. Yumi started to eat. Senzaru felt a slight burning sensation on his left arm, where his phoenix tattoo was. So it seems that it's time, so you finally want me, Xenos. Senzaru stood up and waved goodbye to everyone. Senzaru headed back to his house. Close to 15 minutes passed before he arrived at the house. He immediately headed towards that backyard. Sure, he could have summoned the phoenix anywhere, but he felt that it was much better and more secluded in the confines of his family's house. Biting his thumb to draw blood, Senzaru did the hand seals necessary, then slammed his hand to the ground to perform his summon. Before him, teal-feathered phoenix with reddish tips at the tip of the wings and tail. The phoenix stood a foot or so taller than he did. The phoenix spoke, "It's time, Senzaru-san. We relayed all of your messages to Lord Xenos and he said the only way he would give you full access to your powers is if you come to the lair. He will explain the rest once you get there. So he wants me to come to the lair. Okay, no problem. I will leave immediately. Would you like me to escort you, Senzaru-san?" The phoenix asked. "I would like that very much, Mijiro, but could you please give me about a half an hour or so? I have to straighten up some matters, if you will." The phoenix gave a slight bow. "As you wish. I will wait here for you, Senzaru-san." He placed his hat on the phoenix's head. "Thank you, Mijiro." Senzaru jumped on the roof and was heading towards Yugao. Well, he was about to head in that direction until he saw his mother standing in front of him. "Carson, what is it? You're going to try to regain access to the phoenix chakra?" she asked. He was surprised and was about to ask how she knows, but soon it continued. "I heard you and Naya talking. I'm not Hokage for nothing. I just have one question." "Yes, what is it?" he asked, waiting for a response. "I want to know, with full access to it, can you beat him?" Answering honestly, "I don't know. I know I would be on even ground with him, that much is certain. But to say that I can outright beat him is not something I would automatically assume." "Okay, I got the answer I want. Be careful, okay," she said, worried about him. Moving past her in a flash, and leaping from roof to roof, he was on his way to Yugao's house. He was going to ask her for a favor. Hopefully she would accept. It didn't take him long to arrive at Yugao's place. Knocking on her front door, he waited until she came to the door. When the door opened, Yugao motioned for him to come in. "What brings you here, Senzaru?" Well, I need a favor if it's not too much. I was wondering if you could help with my team's training. He really hoped she would be able to help. Sorry, but I can't. My squad is on duty and well, I just can't. Why don't you try, Genma-san? He thought about her suggestion. No, I will have to find somebody else, he said while trying to figure out who would do it. Well, if you don't mind me asking, why do you need someone to train your team? Are you going somewhere? Yes, I have something to deal with. The look on his face and the way he said it, she knew it was serious. Are you going on a mission? Something like that. Look, I will tell you all about it when I get back. He kissed the girl on the cheek. I have to get going. See you when I get back. He left her house in a flash, using smoke to cover his tracks. Yugal wanted to press him more, but he left before she could. Shrugging, she went back to the kitchen to continue with her meal. Senzairu found himself at the Nara household watching his former sensei and his son play shogi. So, will you do it for me, sensei? Making a move on the chessboard. No, can do. Your mother has me as a consultant for her strategy division. Shikamaru, who made counter move for the previous move his father made. Why don't you ask Asuma sensei? He has nothing else to do, so I'm sure he could help you. If not him, then you might want to try Guy. I would recommend Kakashi, but we both know how lazy he is. Senzairu completely forgot about Guy. How could I have forgotten about Guy? I'm sure he would be perfect until I get back. Thanks, Shikamaru. Shikamaru waved him off as he left quickly. The genius slapped himself when his father moved a piece into place on the board and said, checkmate. Another game, son. Sure. Another game sounds good. Resetting the pieces, the two begun a new game. Senzairu finally caught up to Guy, which wasn't hard since Guy was usually at the training grounds around this time. When he asked Guy if he could do him that favor, the green spandex-clad man responded with a thumbs up. It would be my pleasure. How long do you think you will be gone? Don't know really. Anyway, thanks Guy, I owe you one big time. Smiling his big smile, Guy responds, don't worry about it. Senzairu nodded and disappeared in a purple flame. It didn't take the man long to arrive back at his backyard, where Mijuro was waiting. Are you ready to go, Senzairu-san? Yes, whenever you are ready, he said to the bird. Please, get on my back so we can go. Senzairu did as he was told. The phoenix took to the air and flew off from the house. Tsunade, who was in the house looking out of her bedroom window, watched as her son headed to the legendary phoenix nest. Turning away, she headed back to the tower. 10 p.m., Phoenix Nest. It's been about a few years since Senzairu has been here. His destination was Zeno's chamber, the actual Phoenix Nest itself, which was at the end of the winding stairs he was walking down. When he arrived at the end, a door, about 50 feet high, made of gold with phoenixes and flame patterns decorating it, stood before him. Pushing the doors open, Senzairu stepped inside the room. After taking a few steps, the door behind him closed. The room was dark, but he knew it wouldn't be for long, and was he right? Flames danced on the walls of the room, and in a bright flash of flames, Senzairu saw the king of the phoenixes. Before him was the mythical figure, Zenos. Varying from larger to small, phoenixes were all around this massive room on marble stone perches. Zenos, however, was standing on the gold perch in the center of the room. The red-feathered bird with orange tips on the tail and the wing, and flaming orange eyes, looked down at Senzairu with a look of disdain. In a deep and commanding voice, Zenos spoke, "You've been trying to contact me for a while. From what I've been told by my subordinates, you want to regain full access to the power that I deny." Senzairu dropped to one knee. Zenos-sama, I need full access to your power if I am to defend my village and everyone I care for against Azu. Zeno's voice elevated. I thought you learned your lesson chasing the wielder of the dragons. It is because of your lack of patience that you are in this position in the first place. I will not give you back full access to my power. When you left here a few years back, you weren't supposed to leave, but you did, and to do what? Keep an eye on the dragon wielder. You could have been training and learning more about the powers bestowed upon you, but you had other goals in mind. I have set a 3-year limit from the time you left, which means you have roughly another year till you gain back your powers, since 2 have passed since you were last here. You are free to go. Sir, please, I will do whatever it takes. I need you, Zeno-sama. Senzairu pleaded. You can cut it with the Sama crap. You've never referred to me like that before. Don't think I will give you a break for your newfound respect. The Phoenix said flatly. Senzaru smirked, saw through that. Well, to cut the crap, I really need access to your power, Xenos. If there is anything. Mijuro, who was sitting on a perch high above and behind Senzaru, made a suggestion. Xeno-sama, maybe we could issue him the test of flames. Senzaru, who was looking at the bird that transported him here, asked, test of flames, what is that? Is it similar to the breathe of fire test that I had to go through to prove I was worthy of the contract? Xeno spoke, not even close. I will allow you to take this test, and you complete it. I will give you complete and total access to my powers once more. Do you choose to accept? Will you tell me about the test before I do? Senzaru asked but got no response. I guess not. Oh well, it can't be helped, I guess. Sure. I accept. Now can you tell me? With pleasure. This test, you will stay within the flames for as long as I deem. You see, Senzaru, every once in a while flames swallow this nest. There is no effect on us, however on you that is a different story. Allow me to show you what I mean. Xeno's eyes started to glow, actually the eyes of every phoenix in the nest, from what Senzaru could see, eyes were glowing. He didn't have any time to react, the flames engulfed the room and burned his clothes completely off. Screaming in agony, Senzaru could only manage one thought, kill Mizuru, if I get out of this hell. Xenos communicated with him via mind link, you will stay within these flames for 4 days. If you can withstand the flames without passing out or dying on me, I will restore your powers. Remember these words well, Senzaru, it's not about enduring the pain that will get you through this test, it's more about willpower and resolve. Find your resolve and you will become one with the flame. Senzaru, who was on his knees, could feel his skin was peeling. Looking at his tattoo, which was glow a bright orange, he suspected it was the healing abilities that were keeping him alive and the fact he was using his own chakra to withstand the heat. Sure, he could withstand a standard Kaiten, but this was nothing of the sorts. This was the flame of the Phoenix. But he knew he would have to withstand it. If I don't, who will be able to compete against Azu? Forget about him right now, Senzaru, concentrate on the task at hand. Xenos was looking on, he doesn't realize it, but the reason he hasn't been burned to a crisp is because he is recognized as one of us. But since he has limit access to our chakra, he feels scorching heat from the flame that is of no consequence to us. Arrogance and lack of self-control is why I declined you access to the full scope of my power. It seems you have a more self-control, a lesson that I knew you would learn if I stripped you of the power that kept you and the boy who wields the dragons on equal footing. Now Senzaru, show me your resolve. Show me that I didn't make a mistake giving you my contract. Senzaru, who was in more pain than one could possibly describe, looked up at the bird standing before him. Xeno saw that look. It was the same one he had when he first came to the cave. It was one of determination. Looking deep into the iris of Senzaru, he saw the image of a flame dance in his eye before dying out. I see that determination has manifested once more. Let's see if you keep it when the flames rise. Chunin exam finals, 2 weeks and 6 days later. Tsunade was sitting in her chair in her office. Tomorrow was the day. She was ready, she would do what was necessary. She still didn't hear word on Naruto, and as for Senzaru, he came back 4 days later. The next 6 days were spent recuperating from serious burns. If she knew him, he was probably getting his squad ready for the exams that were set to start at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Looking at her clock, she saw the time, it was about 4 p.m. She just received word that the Reikage would be arriving in approximately 2 hours, the Omekage in another hour, Gaara was already in the village, Mizukage would arrive probably late tonight, Tsuchikage also was in the village, Shibuke would arrive from Waterfall and the Kasakage would be here later that evening as well. For this very reason, she ordered Sasuke to bring Yumi and Hayami before her. Mai was with Jiraiya, so it was nothing to worried about. She wondered about that relationship, she even asked Mai, but the lady informed her that nothing was going between the two. As she said, Jiraiya wasn't her type. A good friend, but just not the guy for her. Tsunade could relate. Jiraiya was very reliable, but not someone she would consider dating. Knowing of his womanizing ways, she just shuddered at the thought of her and Jiraiya. Hearing a knock at the door, come in. Shizune opened the door and motioned for Sasuke, Temari, Hayami, and Yumi to enter. Tsunade looked at Sasuke and Temari. As of today, your command has been relieved. Hayami and Yumi will be staying with me tonight. She saw the look in Sasuke's eye as if she was saying he was incapable of protecting the girl, so she explained her reason. I'm not saying you can't protect them, Sasuke and Temari, I'm just saying that staying with me would ensure their safety. Our village is packed with shinobi from both rock and rain. It's no telling what they will do, however, at my place they wouldn't be as foolish. Temari spoke, well, I guess I'm coming to your place. Tsunade shook her head, no, you're done, Temari. Gaara has informed me to inform you that he expects you to report to him within the next hour. If you got issues, talk to Gaara. As for you, Sasuke, you are free to go. I will get in contact with you later. Sasuke looked at Hayami, then at Tsunade. He then looked back at the girl and nodded. Hayami nodded back. She knew it was his way of saying goodbye. Temari, on the other hand, bent down to eye level and hugged the girl. Well, Hayami-chan, I probably won't see you tomorrow, but if you're in trouble I will be there. You're a brave little girl, Hayami. I have to go or my brother will be mad. I'll see you later, Temari-ne-chan. Tell Gaara-san and Clown-chan I said hi. Sasuke was rolling on the floor in his head. The name she thought up for Kankuro was hilarious. His eyes shifted to his side when Yumi placed a hand on his shoulder. It was really nice, you know, what you did for her and all. Thank you for protecting us, Sasuke. I know how you and Naruto-kun have your differences, but... Sasuke walked away with his hand up. Don't mention it. Just tell that idiot he owes me a rematch. Sasuke opened the door and closed it behind him as he exited the room. Tsunade shook her head. Damn Uchiha and his pride. I guess men will be men. Temari hugged Yumi and whispered, stay safe. I kind of feel like your family, you know, the sister I never had. Yumi pulled away to look into her eyes and smile. I feel the same. Spending time with you in this village made it more bearable. Thank you, Temari. Yumi pulled her in for another hug and whispered, just make sure that you're alive after tomorrow so we can hang out when it's all over. Temari broke free and nodded, definitely going to hold you to your word. The Kazekige's sister waved before leaving the room. When she left, Yumi looked towards Tsunade. Tsunade-sama, did you hear anything about Naruto as of yet? Tsunade cast a downward look at her desk. Yumi knew that was a no. There was complete silence between them. Tsunade-sama, can I ask you a question that has been bothering me for the last few weeks? Hayami said in soft voice. Sure. What do you want to ask me? Well, it's about Naruto-ni-san. I just want to know the truth. Naruto-ni-san was banished from Konoha, so was Foxy-chan. Everyone here hates foxes as much as they hate Ni-san. Naruto-ni-san, he's Foxy-chan, right? He's the one with the monster in his stomach, right? Tsunade looked at the girl whose hair covered her eyes. Tsunade knew there wasn't any sense lying to the girl. Yes, Naruto and Foxy-chan are one in the same. Tsunade couldn't see her reaction. She wondered if the girl hated Naruto. She needed to know if her views on Naruto had changed. So, do you see him as your brother or do you see him as a monster like majority of the village? Without thinking she yelled, Ni-san isn't a monster. Tsunade leaned back a little on reflex. The scream from the girl caught her slightly off guard. Hayami looked she was ashamed at herself for yelling at the Hokage. I'm sorry, Tsunade-sama. Ni-san isn't a monster. Fox is the fox, Ni-san is Ni-san. Tsunade got up and placed her hand over the girl's head. You're right. Naruto is Naruto and the Kyuubi is the Kyuubi. I'm sure your brother will be here soon. She looked up at Yumi. You can't wait to see him either, can you? I know he is doing what he feels is right. If that took him a year, 5, 10, or 100, I would wait because I know if there is still a breath in his body, he's going to be here today or tomorrow. Tsunade was glad that Naruto found someone like her to share his life with. True love was hard to find. She hoped he cherishes it like she cherished hers. Northern Mountain Hills. Naruto was standing outside with the Hiraishin kunai in his hand. He was clearly worn, tattered, and just tired. Falling on his face in the dirt, Naruto was knocked out. Rin, who was watching, walked over and shook him to wake him up. She kept shaking, and shaking. Not again. Doesn't he know he has to be in the village tomorrow? Isn't that what he told me? At this rate he's going to be out for 2 days. Draping Naruto over her shoulder, she carried him back into the house. When she arrived at his room, she just threw him on the bed. Taking a step back, she looked him over. Shaking her head, she leaned forward to heal his injuries. He's low on chakra. Rest will heal that. I just wonder how much rest he's going to need. Rin wondered. Konoha, 6:30 p.m. Inside the chariot that entered the village with the cloud insignia on it sat the Reikage. The daimyo would arrive later, he was informed. It didn't matter, he was in the Leaf Village. Tomorrow would be a glorious day in history as far as he was concerned. It would be a new era, the era that he had always envisioned. Peeking outside of the tinted screens, he could see all eyes were drawn to him. When he arrived at the finest inn in the village, Aizu stepped out of the carriage followed by his son. Kuin, who was walking alongside the carriage with Kadan, Roba, Jikoku, and Daki, was looking around to see if saw Kumoko. You would think she would be here to greet you, yet she isn't. Kuin looked at the Reikage. Do you want me to locate her, sir? He shook his head. No. Just make sure she doesn't attack the girl. I don't want her messing it all up now. She can fulfill her personal vendetta soon, but not right now. Kuin bowed. As you wish. He took off to find her. Kadan looked off to his left. The quizzical expression on his face caused Rado to ask, what's wrong? Aizu answered, we're being watched by Anbu. So much for trust, but it's to be expected from one who has reached Tsunade status. The Reikage headed inside the inn and proceeded the room that he was given. After taking 5 minutes or so to settle down, Rado and the other members of his squad was standing before his father, who was sitting in a chair. You guys know the signal. When the signal goes off, Kadan will give you your instructions. You are to carry him out. Once you carry him out, you are to head back to Cloud. Is that understood? Everyone nodded. Good, you all are free to roam the village. Just be back in your rooms by 10 tonight. Dismissed. Everyone left the room, and as they were leaving, Kumoko and Kuin were entering. You wanted to see me, sir? The girl asked. Yes, I want to tell you that I want you to lay off of the girl. I'm sure you were dedicating your time observing her. We're so close, I don't want you messing that up. He said the last part in a tone that would show how serious he was. She clenched her fist as she spoke. I'm going to kill that little bitch and his girlfriend. But I will hold off until tomorrow. I don't care what you do after, just don't do anything tonight or during the exams, you got that? She nodded. Okay, you all are free to go. I'm to meet with the other cages for a dinner here in town. Just as he stood up, he heard a knock at the door, and lo and behold, it was Two-Leaf Shinobi. Reikage-sama, Tsunade requests your presences at the dinner hall. One of the shinobi stated. He looked at the 4 shinobi that he came with. It's okay, you guys walk around and enjoy the village. Gentlemen, lead the way. Aizu followed behind the 2 gentlemen that came to escort him to the dinner. When he left the room, Kumoko put a dent in the wall. Unfucking believable, I'm this close to revenge and yet, I can't get it. The 2 are under the Hokage's protection and I doubt she's going to protect them. I can take him out now. Fuck that, I'm going to. Kuin appeared in front of the girl who went for the door. Think for 1 second, Kumoko. If she leaves them, don't you think she will have Anbu watching closely? You also forget what happened between you and the Uchiha. You're going to get your chance, just wait it out. Kumoko thought about what he said. She looked away as if in pain. The fact that he was right stung her. She punched the wall again. Damn it. Okay. I got to get the hell out of here, I need a drink. I guess I will be joining you then. Kadan said to his friend. I'm in, you Roba? Daki asked. Roba nodded. Sure, what about you, Kuin? The blue-haired shinobi nodded his head. Okay, let's go. The group filed out of the room with thoughts of becoming intoxicated. Local restaurant. This was one of the more upscale restaurants in Konoha. Tsunade really didn't want to attend the meeting, but she had no choice. In the meantime, she had Anbu watching over the 2 females in her custody, well 3 if you count Mai. A rectangular table, Tsunade sat at the head of the table, Gaara on her right, the Tsuchikage on her left, the Omekage, or leader of Rain next to Gaara, Shibuke next to the Tsuchikage, Kasakage next to him and Aizu next to the leader of Rain. The group was waiting for the Mizukage, who just arrived with his group. The Leaf Shinobi standing guard stopped them. Welcome Mizukage, forgive me, but this a cage-only party, no guards allowed. Tsunade informed the head of the Mist Village. He turned to his man, waved him off, earning a nod from each. The guard at the door showed him to his seat next to Aizu. He sat. Well, this is the first time in years that all the cages from the 5 elemental nations have been in the same village for the Chunin exams. How are you, Tsunade Dono? I've been good. I hope all is well with you. It has been a while since I've been in Konoha. I forgot how beautiful this village is. The Mizukage commented. Yes, it is a lovely village. So tell me, Tsunade Dono, why no guards? Aizu asked. I just want everyone to relax and feel safe here. Besides, it's an act of good faith, Reikage Dono. Tsunade didn't even buy what she said, but it sounded good. Aizu laughed. I suppose so. I hear that the girl from the Manashu clan is still here in Konoha. I would very much like to speak to the little girl. Tsunade really hated this bastard. He knew how to piss her off and he was doing a good job. But being her, she calmed herself. Gaara was different story. Gaara stood up. You bastard. Sand was coming out of the gourd on the floor next to him. Aizu gave him a sick smile, daring him to attack. Tsunade placed a hand on Gaara's shoulder. Gaara, please calm down, this isn't the place. Gaara looked at Aizu. I know you want to fight, Aizu. I warn you, I am not to be trifled with. My patience is very thin, Aizu. You're mocking the girl and her family. What do you hope to accomplish by talking to her? You just want to show her the face of her clan's murderer. Unlike Tsunade here, I have no problem killing you, because I know the type of person you are. You're a power-hungry, egomaniacal asshole. Don't think you're fooling anyone here. However, I will refrain from harming you. Naruto will do that himself. I suggest after this exam you hide behind all of the cloud shinobi that you can. I only wish I'm there when that blade claims your head. Aizu was getting angry. The fact of the matter was he had no idea where Naruto was and what he was doing with the blade. He didn't like Gaara. This was another person who would stand in his way. It didn't matter. Gaara of the Sand would be occupied during the exams, which he made sure of. Another factor was Senzairu. He had a plan laid out for that man. The only wildcard is Uzumaki Naruto. To hide his anger, he smiled at Gaara. Well, I guess I will have to be extra careful. I apologize if I offended you, Kazekage Dono. Gaara didn't even give the man a response. He turned to Tsunade. How long until the food arrives? Not long. The Hokage said. It only took a few minutes before an assortment of dishes were brought forth to eat. Tsunade couldn't wait for this painful dinner to end. The things she had to do as Hokage. In the village, Senzairu was walking with his squad in front of him and Asuma beside him. The two rarely had time spent, but this one of those rare occasions. While the two boys and the girl, who got out of the hospital a few days ago, were walking, Senzairu and Asuma were talking. I see you've been training them hard. Guy told me he trained them for a week. Why didn't you come ask me? I would have helped. Asuma asked the golden brown-eyed Junin, who scratched his head. The thought never occurred to me, sorry. He offered an apology. The truth was he really did forget about him. So, how are things going with you and Yugao? Asuma asked. Good. Things are good. You and Kurenai? Senzairu asked. Asuma didn't know if he should tell him, but he had to. It would hurt if he found out from somebody else. Well, great. I asked Kurenai to marry me. And what did she say? Senzairu asked. Well, Asuma didn't want to tell him the answer. Senzairu smiled. She said yes. It's okay, I'm not mad, Asuma. I want Kurenai to be happy, and with you I know she will. Besides, I'm with Yugao now. So, when is the wedding? After all of this blows over. Look, I got to go, but Senzairu, I want you to be my best man. Don't die on me, okay? Senzairu extended his hand for the man to shake. I don't plan on dying. Just don't die and make her sad. If you do that, I'm going to have to drag your ass back from the other side. Asuma laughed. You never change, do you, Senzairu? Of course, change is unavoidable. But with change, a small part of you still exists. I will see you later, friend. Stay safe. Asuma nodded, then walked off in the other direction. Senzairu looked ahead to see his squad waiting for him. What's taking you so long, Sensei-sensei? We're hungry. Smiling at Makinu, change is inevitable. He reached in his pocket and gave Makinu the money. You guys go on and get something to eat without me. Just remember to be at my house at 10 sharp. Akuru spoke. Sensei, what about me? I'm not in the tournament, so do you want me to show up as well? You are a part of the team, right? The girl's smile grew wide as she nodded vigorously. Well, Then it's settled. I will see you guys later. In a puff of smoke, he was gone. 9 p.m., Uchiha compound. Sasuke was sitting outside on the steps that led to the patio looking up at the full moon. He had to admit, it was kind of quiet with Hayami gone. He was thinking about tomorrow mostly. Soon it had him assigned to protect the civilians and the academy students as they made their way to the rock face monument. He would be stationed close to the stadium in case he was needed there. It didn't matter, Sasuke would do what he could. The young Uchiha felt arms wrap around him from behind. The smell of a cherry blossoms eased his mind even more. Before the arms wrapped around him, he knew it was Sakura. Sasuke-kun, are you okay? Yeah, I'm just thinking. Oh. Sakura rested her head in the groove of his neck. Following his line of sight, it's beautiful, isn't it? Sasuke turned to Sakura. He knew she was beautiful, but the moonlight really enhanced it. Placing his hand under her chin, yes, it is beautiful. Sasuke leaned in and kissed Sakura passionately. Pulling away to get air, Sakura returned, resting her head on his neck. Tomorrow is going to be hectic, Sasuke-kun. I just want to say that if one of us doesn't survive that, he cut her off. I love you too, Sakura, but I don't intend on dying or letting you die. So get that out of your head. Sakura was shocked at the fact that he said that he loved her. This wasn't the real Sasuke. She felt his forehead. Are you okay? First the kiss and now you saying you love me. You got to be sick, that's it. Sasuke smirked while looking at the moon. I'm okay, Sakura. She didn't know what brought on this change, but she was grateful. Tightening her grip around him, slightly below his neck, Sakura rejoined him at looking at the moon. Sasuke placed a hand on her forearm. He would cherish the moment, you never know when you will get another one like it, is what he thought. Somewhere in Konoha, Yugao, who had her towel wrapped around her body due to her just exiting the shower, slipped into her undergarments, then slid on a long t-shirt with the leaf symbol on the front. After she finished getting dressed, she left her bedroom and headed the kitchen for a snack. Passing the living room, she noticed a moonflower on the window ledge. She smiled but continued to the kitchen. She pulled out cake and cut 2 slices. She then poured 2 glasses of milk, then sat them on the table. So, are you going to continue to hide or are you going to join me? As soon as she said that, Senzaru came into view with a big grin on his face. I like the moonflower, but you didn't have to, she said before taking a bite out of her cake. Sitting in the chair on her right, Senzaru took a bite out of the slice she set out for him. I wanted to, besides you did say that they were your favorite flower. So they are. The two continued to eat their cake in silence. Senzaru broke the silence. Yugao, I just want you to know that if things get out of hand tomorrow. She placed her finger to his lips. Let's not worry about tomorrow. What matters is that you're here now. This last half year or so has been everything I could ever hope for. I thought I would never love again, and well, you showed me I can love again. I can't imagine what my life would be without you now, so don't go on saying that you're going to die. Because, I can't take another heartbreak after the fragments have healed. Caressing her hair, you know, waking up to this face every morning is something I can see myself getting used to. But I'm a realist and I know that there is a possibility that one or both of us might die tomorrow. She interjected, or both of us might survive, no one knows the future. True, was all he could say. It's like I said, let's focus on the now. She pulled him close until her lips interlocked with his. He knew that it was a possibility that he would have to use his Angel of Death jutsu, but right now he wouldn't worry about it. He wanted her to be happy, regardless of how long that might be. Somewhere in Konoha, Shikamaru and Temari were lying in a grass field looking up at the sky. Temari told Gaara that she was considering quitting. Kankaru, who was present, went ballistic. Gaara, on the other hand, understood his words as they played in her head. Your love for that lazy pineapple head guy is the reason, correct? If you love him, then your decision is simple. Follow your heart. Temari looked at the unsuspecting Nara and smiled. Thank you, Gaara, I will. Shikamaru was thinking the same thing. He was definitely done after this war. He had no idea where he and Temari would go, but as long as they were together it didn't matter at all. In his mind he did more than what he had intended to do as ninja. He never thought he would attain the rank of Junin. In fact, he never thought he would be considered one of the elite in the village. Hell, He was a part of Anbu and a strategic consultant to the Hokage. Yep, he did a lot in his time, nothing more he could or want to do. He would follow Hinata's example. Out of all of them, she had been the smart one in his eyes. Konoha has always and will always be my home, but it's time I make one with Temari. Shikamaru pulled the girl close on instinct. She had also moved closer on instinct as well. Wherever life would take them and how troublesome it might get, as long as they had each other it wouldn't matter. Not one bit. Naya's place. Hinata was sitting on the roof looking at the moon. She loved doing this when she was at the Hyuga compound. It was one of the most relaxing things she could do. Getting lost in the ocean that was the sky, all of her issues with her family washed away. It was calming. Hinata glanced behind her when she sensed someone behind her. Shinji took up a seat next to her. Beautiful, isn't it? Yes, it's quite beautiful. Whenever it's a full moon I find a spot to watch it. It's so calming and relaxing. Hinata said while looking at the moon. We're leaving here in 4 hours, Naya said. We should arrive in Konoha around 12:30 to 1 p.m. tomorrow. Hinata nodded. Yeah, Sensei informed me. Shinji needed to ask her a question. He needed to know, Hinata, can I ask you something? The girl looked at him waiting for his question. Your feelings for Naruto, I want to know if they're so deep that you will never allow anyone else into your heart. Hinata thought about the question, then she responded, I care for Naruto-kun, but I don't think my feelings are that deep, not anymore. He's with Yumi-san and I'm happy for their happiness. I will have to find my own happiness someday, but I guess I have to wait. Most guys don't look at me that way. Because of my shy and quiet nature, I've never been looked at like Ino-san or Sakura-san. Well, those guys are idiots. You are the prettiest lady I have ever seen and you have much more to offer than those two. Hinata was a little surprised. Nobody had ever thought she was pretty, let alone the prettiest thing she had ever seen. Shinji slid his hand over Hinata's hand which was resting on the roof. Hinata, I really like you. I don't know how you feel about me or if you even like me, but maybe one day I can be that guy that brings you happiness. Shinji acted on instinct. He inched closer until he kissed a shocked Hinata. When he pulled away he looked at Hinata whose eyes were wide from the suddenness of the kiss. Shinji looked at Hinata and wondered if she was okay. Maybe he moved too fast. He was cursing himself thinking that he blew it. Hinata touched her lips with her hands. He really didn't know what was going through her mind, but in Hinata's mind she was thinking, he kissed me. He really kissed me. Naya-sensei said he liked me, but I had no idea. Is this why he always offered to walk me back home and turn up wherever I was to join me? Shinji's voice broke her train of thought. Hinata, I'm sorry I let my feelings take control. If you are uncomfortable, truly I never meant for that to happen. It's okay, Shinji-kun. It's just that I didn't know you liked me like that. Oh, so you don't feel the same? Shinji said in a defeated tone. Hinata slid her hand over his this time and smiled. I didn't say that. I don't know if you are that guy or if I will ever find that guy, but let's see what happens, okay Shinji-kun? He nodded. Simultaneously, the two turned to look at the moon in the sky. He hoped that she allowed him the chance to prove he was that guy. For Hinata, this was the first guy who has ever felt this way about her. Maybe giving him a shot wasn't a bad idea. Maybe he was that guy. Time would tell. Kaito and Naya, who were sitting outside watching the two, looked on as they kissed and held hands. Don't they look so cute together? Naya said. Everything looks cute to you. But I suppose they would make a nice couple. Kaito agreed. He didn't want to piss her off. I think we should give them some privacy. Come, I will make you some of your favorite tea. Naya started walking back to the house. Kaito couldn't turn that down. It wasn't often that she would offer to make him his green tea. She knew how much he liked it, but whenever he asked her to make it she would say no. Naya doing anything of this nature is her way of showing she cares. He knew that it was the type of person she was. Kaito glanced at the two. He then headed into the house to enjoy the tea he loved so much. Konoha, 8 a.m. Tsunade was sitting at her chair in the tower looking out the window. People from all over were here in Konoha to see the exams this year. Today was the day, it was finally here. She didn't know where Naruto was at, hell she didn't even know if Senzaru got full access back to the power of the Phoenix. All she knew was that she would have to be ready. Tightening her fist and smirking, she knew she was. After today, if Konoha stood or fell, it would be because of her abilities. There was no more tomorrow, today was the day. Not the day of the exams, not the day that all of the cages of the elemental nations met for the first time in years. Today was much more than that. In her eyes, today was the final battle of the war. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.